For 15-year-old Stella Fig, this could be her last soccer game on Canadian soil.
Well, I mean, I've lived my whole life here, so it's like home.
Stella was born in the United States, but moved to Canada when she was a baby. Her parents moved here for work 15 years ago with Stella and their son. Ever since moving to Canada, the parents welcomed 4 more children. For them, Canada is all they know.
So it's really challenging to know that I might have to restart at zero.
But after coming back from a trip to the U.S. on Monday, Alice Fig says they were stopped by Border Patrol.
We were being given 2 weeks to pack up our house, to sell our house, to liquidate our assets, and to leave Canada.
It turns out their work visa was expired. Federal documents show that the parents, along with their 2 American-born children, must leave the country by September 8th.
That's the shock. That's where the emotion comes out of just being dismissed after all that we've done to work to be here legitimately.
The family tried a few times to apply for permanent residency, but to no avail. Brent Fig says in the past, after their work visa would expire, they were usually given a 90-day grace period to reapply. But this time around, that wasn't the case.
So we were well within that window.
One immigration lawyer who does not represent the family says there is a chance they could stay in Canada.
What I would explore with them is an application under humanitarian grounds, which, that's a system we have in Canada that will allow an immigration agent officer to consider the file as a whole.
Though the Figs moved around before, since 2017, Quebec has been home. The kids are enrolled in French schools, made friends, and planted roots in the Eastern Townships community. But now all of that is in jeopardy.
Our kids are in shock. Yeah, they know what's happening. The Canadian kids did go back to school this week just to say goodbye to their friends, just to have some last contacts.
CTV News reached out to Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada on Sunday, but did not hear back in time for broadcast. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
So this is an unfortunate situation for this family. And I don't know how this thing is going to get solved, but let's go over this quickly. I'm not going to make this too fast because there are just a few points that I want to bring up here. So first of all, this family is being sent back to the U.S. because their visas expired. Their visas expired. So that's on them. And I know that's harsh. And I know that they said they typically get a 90-day grace period, but that rule has probably changed now because you've been here for 15 years. And so something's changed in that regard, right? Like there's a lot going on right now between Canada and the US. And we've been hearing about stories of how Canadians have been detained by ICE in America. And so that might have something to do with not just that, but there are, things going on between the Canada and the US with, Carney and Trump. They're trying to figure things out, but things are going to change. Things are going to change and things are going to be a little bit more strict here. Now, I did mention it's unfortunate because you've been here for 15 years. You've been here for 15 years. You came here with one child. And that child was a baby. You welcome 4 more. And the only place that they've ever lived is in Canada. So it's the only home that they know. So imagine how devastating that is for the family. They're coming back across the border. They realize that their work permit has expired. They don't get the grace period. And now they're being told that they need to sell their house, liquidate their assets. You got to be up out of here in just a couple weeks. That is devastating. That is devastating. I will say that. I will say that. But also, think about it from this perspective if you are a Canadian. And listen, I'm not advocating to just go and give these guys the boot out the country. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, what would it be like if the shoe was on the other foot and you were a Canadian living in the US for 15 years doing this? First of all, I don't even think it would get to 15 years because on a work permit like that, I'm pretty sure the US would not have given you any 90-day grace periods. They would have kicked your behind out of the US so fast you wouldn't even have known what hit you. Okay, I'm telling you. You wouldn't even have known what happened. And so, yes, here for 15 years, Why didn't you get the permanent residence? I know they said they tried to get permanent residence to no avail. Why is that? That is strange to me. Not really sure what the situation is there. But when you look at permanent residence being given to people from all around the world coming into Canada, and we know that in Canada, damn it, the floodgates are open here. The floodgates are open. People are getting permanent residence pretty much every second now at this point, even though they have cut down a little bit. But I mean, over the last decade, oh man, it was like nothing to get permanent residence in Canada. So how come, I don't know, to no avail? That seems a little strange to me. On top of that, we know for the most part they probably had absolutely no intention of going back to the US, which is completely fine if that's what you're going to do. But I mean, as I mentioned, when you look at everything going on between the two countries and right now with Canada and the US, this is kind of the petty stuff that's going to happen. Even though you do, CBSA obviously was doing their job here. And I mean, you can't blame them for that. The rules are the rules here. But at the same time, this family has to make sure that I's are dotted and T's are crossed on everything. And everything has to be done on time. That is nobody else's fault except your own, unfortunately for you. But here's what's crazy about it as well. And here's where I wouldn't say necessarily defend the family, but here's what's crooked about it, in my opinion, and what I don't like. You have a lot of criminals that are here from different countries committing crimes, causing havoc on bail over and over and over again. Maybe some get deported, but there are also a lot that don't. I'd rather see people like that get deported first before you even look at these folks. I understand that, yes, the paperwork wasn't legitimate and it was late, but at least they were law abiding citizens. I will say that. Even though that doesn't make it any better, rules are the rules. Damn it. What are you going to do? Tough luck for this family. Hopefully they can work something out. But at the end of the day, the rules are the rules and they're the same for everyone. That is just the way it is. And hopefully they can figure this thing out. On Twitter, at Mike Roach 23, at Mike Roach 7 on IG. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the podcast, folks. Podcasts like these are what I like to do. I like to speak on a range of different things, but I just like them because I'm hoping that they can start conversations. I'm hoping they can start conversations. So, folks, this is the Mike Roach podcast, and I'll be back again soon. Peace, and I'm out.